my stream off. And I think we are live. G'day, everybody. There you are over there. How are you going today? I'm just making sure that I don't get live feedback because that'll definitely make me go insane. So I'm just going to turn that off. Bobby, how are you today, sir?
I'm
sunny
doing well,
Singapore.
Matt.
Yes.
I'm doing well. How about you?
Yeah, well, I don't know if anyone's noticed, but I'm here in different settings today. I'm actually here at my warehouse. And if I'm feeling bold at the end of the episode, Bobby, I might take the camera off the tripod and just pan it around a little bit so people can see where I store my massive printer, which is just over here next to me, my, I don't know, thousands of books that are over there and greeting cards and all that sort of stuff. So a different setting for today. We are running this off my laptop, which is in front of me here, as well as running it off my mobile phone, which is just off screen. So if the broadcast gets a little bit, flaky at times, it'll just be because other people are actually using the cellular network and taking some of our bandwidth. So I apologize for that in advance. But I think everybody, are we looking and sounding good so far?
I think we are, Matt. I think we are.
We are.
Yeah,
and I'd like to say a big welcome.
Good.
A big welcome to everybody that's here, and hello to Jay Blue. Thank you for joining us on this beautiful Friday morning in this time zone, Thursday evening for people in other parts of the world. Now, with this episode, I wanted to start off, Bobby, by asking you, I think you saw a movie this week.
I did.
Tell us about the movie you saw. It's a big one.
Yeah, it's a big one. I saw Superman this week. I saw an advanced screening of it here in Singapore. And I have thoughts, Matt. I have thoughts on this film that may not align with what we're seeing from the majority of people out there, at least what I'm seeing online. I don't know. But I do feel it to be a bit of a mixed bag. I think that if you are a fan of the previous movies, from Christopher Reeve to Brandon Routh with Superman Returns to even Man of Steel, you're going to find this a huge departure in many ways. And in some ways, it's refreshing. That's more on the minority of the film is refreshing. And in many ways, it's quite
just
divisive. Or in many ways, it is, it was unfortunate. I mean, I think if you watch James Gunn's previous films, Guardians of the Galaxy, or if you watch Marvel's, let's say Thor: Love and Thunder, and you put Superman in a blue suit and a red cape with a really not good looking suit, by the way, I think it could be a bit better, but that's just my personal preference. It's kind of that vibe to it. It's a lot of jokes and unnecessary jokes, and it's very fast paced. And the one thing I missed in this film, Matt, not to give it away, because I don't want to give away spoilers for people that are going to be watching this, is that it doesn't give you the awe and wonder of Superman. It humanizes him, which is kind of cool, which is great, because you do want to humanize a character like this in this era, of course. But I think along the way of, humanizing him, they lost a bit of that wow factor. And I think that's what makes Superman so super, is his wow factor. But at the same time, you find that struggle inside of them. And I think that they try to tap on some of that in some ways, but there's just way too many characters. They could have made this movie longer. Usually you want movies to be shorter. This one, they could have added another 20 minutes onto it, and it probably would have given scenes more of a chance to breathe, more emotional moments to resonate. And and not make Ma and Pa Kent like hillbillies out of some like backyard, I don't know what they're from, but it was a bit, even as an American, I'm like going, dude, that's a bit of an insult to middle America. Like, that's what you think of middle America, James Gunn? Like, come on. Like, really? I mean, that's a choice, but it was really insulting, I felt. But and I don't get offended by anything, but I was like, that's really off-putting. But I mean, I'm surprised. I'm curious to see what other audience members think, if they're fans of Superman, what they thought of the film. I do have a lot more thoughts, but obviously they would get into spoilers, so I don't want to get into that right now. But yeah, I was really disheartened.
No worries. All right. Well, on that bright and happy note about the humanity of Superman, I thought we'd move over to a photography-based topic with this beautiful segue about the humanity of a particular individual here in Melbourne. So for those of us in Australia and maybe in other parts of the world, we've been following this story of a woman who potentially murdered her family with mushrooms, cooked them a lunch,
Wow.
and murdered them. And they did die, and her court case just finished. And now that it's finished and the verdict has been handed down, and she was found guilty, which is pretty epic, we're now finding out all these sort of details. And where photography comes into this, everybody, is that a local here, Australian, Melbourne, because this is happening in my town, city, he created this contraption that I think we'd all be very, very interested in for trying to capture her as she was travelling from the prison to the court. So let me just get that up on our screen here. Let me change to the correct picture. That's not it. This was the contraption here. Now, this photographer, his name is Martin Keep, and this was the equipment that he used to get really good shots inside the van. Now, all of us photographers straight away, we know exactly what's going on here, Bobby, don't we? What do we think that enormous kind of rubber thing there at the front's for? Can you see it yet, Bobby, on your stream?
Yes, I can see it. I think
Yes.
that's to put it against glass so you don't get the reflection, so you get a clear
Exactly
shot of
right.
of the perpetrator. Yes.
Exactly right. So amazingly, he had this sort of up high, I think, on some sort of stick, and then he put it up against the glass of the van that was traveling. You know, they were transporting her with, and then he's clearly got his, I don't know, what are they? Are they Godoxes? What are those lights? I can't quite work them out. What that says there.
They look like Godox. They look like Godox lights. I have to say, I think he's a Godox guy. He looks
So
like a
he's got
Godox guy.
Well, not only does he look like a Godox guy, but he also looks like a Canon guy. That to me looks like the new R1, I reckon. It's a beast of a camera. You can see it's got that kind of square shape to it.
I would
Or
say
an
that could be the
R3?
that could be the C80 or the C70.
Oh, it's a video camera?
I think it's a video camera.
Yeah, right. I wondered why it looked
looks like a-
strange. So, look, it's
Yeah, it looks
very
like a video
probable that
camera.
he was... It's very probable that he was capturing video at the same time. That makes a lot of sense to do that, although he was firing flashes. Anyway, I presume most cameras take stills as well. I just thought it would be interesting to everybody to see that this is the lengths that people go to. And now this particular, the shots that he captured have been used by every newspaper all over Australia. So I suspect he's done extraordinarily well out of putting that rig together. But he talks about the fact that he was getting up at 4 a.m. during winter, and they never knew exactly when she was going to turn up. And they would, you know, just wait for that like 5 seconds to get this shot. And then they didn't quite ever know when she was going to leave the court either. And so for, I think it's something like 6 weeks, he was stuck because the trial happened in a country town here in Melbourne, about an hour out of Melbourne. And he was stuck there for 6 or 7 weeks just waiting to get these shots. So the lengths that journalistic photographers go to just to get this one shot, which ended up being he's obviously shot it with a motor wind. And let me just show you some of those images up here. Here they are. This is the images that he got. So let's just hold it. Let me get the webpage back up again. This is going to go through the sequence. What have we got? Yeah, let me pause this because it's not working for us, is it? I don't know why they're disappearing.
Worries.
Let me just reload that page and hopefully our stream doesn't drop out while there she is. So that's shot number 1. Let me stop that from running. Has that'll almost... So shot number 1 is she hasn't worked out what's going on yet with this device up to the screen. Can you see that yet, Bobby?
Ooh, she's a looker. She's a looker.
Yes, indeed. And then she's worked out that she doesn't like what's going on in number 2.
Yeah.
Then she's starting to hide in number 3, which will be with you shortly. And then
she's got that look of
hides.
somebody you don't want to mess with. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. And so that is what this guy managed to capture, and it took 6 or 7 weeks creating that rig just to get this shot. And then what he said is after he got this shot, every time he tried to shoot her after that, she would always have her back to the window. So this was the only time that it ever happened. And this woman has been found guilty of 3 murders of her family members and friends, which is pretty full on. But there you go. There's a photographer doing his work. And I think it's pretty impressive that he went to those lengths to do that. All right. let's move on from the
Yeah.
sadness of Superman and the sadness of this to something a little happier. Which, you know what? Well, let's keep in the sad theme, and then we'll just move on from
Yeah.
that. Which was, I wanted to talk about the recent news, Bobby, that's come out of the US regarding Japan and Korea. Are you
Oh,
across that
yes.
news?
Yes.
The
I've heard
latest.
about the new tariffs, the 25%.
Yes, yes. Let me just get this article up here. There we go, from Routers, of course, which are a trusted source of information. But basically, what's happening is that I think it's the 1st of August, the Japan and South Korea are going to get 25% tariffs, which is even more than what, I mean, China's just 10%. Is that right? On most things, but not necessarily on
Yeah,
everything.
not everything, but some things they get 10% on it. So it's going to be, yeah. But I mean, I think Japan will probably renegotiate with Trump. And I think the problem, what he's doing is like, hey, look, we've given you 3 months. You haven't really come to the table with anything good. We're going to slap 25% on. If you come to the table with something interesting, we'll talk. So, I
Yeah.
mean, again, I think this is just the next phase of, okay, like we're just going to put it on there. And I understand it from two perspectives. Look, from the American perspective, it's like Japan's a very closed off market from a lot of products. And that's their culture. You know what I mean? Like a lot of the electronics or a lot of the products that America wants to bring in, they won't bring it. Cars, all that kind of stuff, they won't allow it in there. So America's like, hey, let our products in there and we'll reduce these tariffs. Japan's like, no, we don't want to do that. So America's like, okay, fine, then we'll put this tariff on you. So I understand it from that perspective, but also from the perspective of the consumer who does buy Japanese products, because we do love the electronics and we do love the cameras and all that stuff. It's going to be a big of a hit. And the brands are going to have to sort of either adjust their pricing, either they'll raise it or they'll absorb some of the tariffs. So I don't think it'll last that long, to be frank with you. I think Japan and America have had a very good relationship for quite some time. I think it's just more or less another negotiating tactic. But yeah, I do foresee certain cameras, because not all cameras are made in Japan now. I mean, like for Nikon, I don't think it's going to affect most of Nikon's stock at all. But I think for other camera brands that do make it in Japan, you're going to see a price increase for sure.
Someone's just asking in the comments, did Fuji just move production of some of their cameras to Japan to avoid tariffs? Do you know about that?
They've been outsourcing for quite some time to other countries. The only cameras that I know that are made in Japan were the GFX system. That was made in Japan previously. Now I don't know if they moved it out. They could have, but that's the only one I know of. Most of them are made in China or other countries.
Yeah, no worries. So anyway, so as Bobby says, basically this is a negotiation tactic. Of course, trade is not one-sided. Thank you very much, John, so much for the super chat.
Yeah,
We
James.
really appreciate that. Um, so I totally get the two sides of that, and that's that's world trade, isn't it, Bobby? Everybody's
Yeah,
always jostling with
it is.
everybody for something. And hopefully, like from our perspective and those people purchasing cameras and whatever else, because we've seen of course the price hikes that had with Sony, although just this week
Wow.
the prices went up and then the prices went back down again, which was pretty amazing.
Yeah.
Because Sony is discounted, not everything, but a lot of stuff has been discounted. So they're kind of offsetting it at the moment, which is great. And
Hmm.
I mean, the China taxes were like 200%, and then they've come back to 10%. So yes, there's a very good chance that this will revert to something much smaller. And Jay, thank you so much as well for your
Yeah.
Bam, it's the Bam Pod. Thank you so much for your super chat.
Yeah.
Really appreciate it.
Yeah.
Great to
Thanks,
have
Jay.
Greg
That's
in the
very, very
house.
kind of you.
Um,
Very, very kind of you guys. Yeah.
yeah, so let's hope it all settles down just for the sake of people who are wanting to buy gear and just don't want it to hit their bottom line. I don't know if everybody just heard the
Yeah, but
truck that just stopped here outside my warehouse. That was a big noise.
no,
Yes, for those
but
who've just
I
joined
think
us, I'm at my warehouse today. Sorry, go on, Bobby.
yeah. No, I think it's going to work out. I think honestly, it is all going to work out. And it's just some of these countries have been a little bit slow in working out the negotiations for the tariffs. And I think it's just this way of saying, hey, look, we've asked you to come to the table. You don't want to come to the table? Okay, here you go. And you're starting to see them now come up to the table and say, wait a second, we need to get this fixed. South Korea, Japan, they'll probably be the first two that get things resolved, I think.
Yeah, cool. I love tuckerography. I can't even say it. How do you say that?
Tucrography.
Tuckerography. Tuckerography.
Yeah.
He's just finished an engagement on Siesta Key Beach. Saw the notification your live stream and immediately had to get here whilst still packing up. Love it, man. We hope that Bobby and I hope that we can make your pack up just that little bit easier. There's nothing more that feeling, a rewarding feeling that you've done a long shoot, a great shoot, everybody's happy, and you're putting your gear away, you're tired, but you've got that glow. I know that glow well. And so hopefully we can make your glow just a little bit more glowy while you pack up and head home. And I'm guessing, I'm not sure where that place is, but I'm guessing it's USA. And so I'm guessing it's nighttime because for Bobby, it's like...
Siesta Key Beach. Yeah.
Yeah, you're going to look it up
Siesta
for us?
Key Beach. Yeah, let's find out where Siesta Key Beach is. I'm curious.
Because for me and Bobby, it's Friday morning, so it's all a bit different for us. But yeah, all right. So we look forward to the
Florida
situation. Yes.
Yeah, Tuckero's in
awesome.
Florida. Yeah.
Okay. Well, it's definitely late then, and I think it's around 10 o'clock at night or something like that. So enjoy that pack up.
Yeah.
Get yourself a nice dinner. Have a good sleep. Well done on doing your shoot. I think there's a truck. Can you hear the truck outside?
I can't hear the truck, Matt. I can't hear the truck.
Oh, well, that's
you got
good.
Pretty good noise cancellation over there.
This is how good the microphones are from Rode. Thank you for giving us a like, everybody. So the next thing I wanted to talk about, Bobby, I don't know if you've heard about this little beastie here. This is the
What is that?
Kase. This is a Kase 85mm. Yeah. 1.4.
They reached out to me. They reached out to me a long time ago. I never took up that email. Is it good?
Yeah, I'm really enjoying it. I've only just started to use it. Obviously, this particular version's E-mount, but we'll probably have other mounts coming soon. Can mount it... Wow, this truck is loud. I don't know what they're doing. Can mount it onto Z, of course, using the adapter, which is lots of fun. It's just amazing to me. You know, here's another brand that I haven't really heard of until they reached out to me, I don't know, a couple of months ago and sent this to me. But I've really enjoyed using it. And it's in the true kind of tradition of current Sony lenses where you have an aperture, which is clickable.
Yeah.
It's also declickable. It's got 2 function buttons on it. We've got the autofocus button. And optically, it seems to come with that sort of, that portrait sort of vibe. So it's not crazy clinically sharp, but I do think it's a really nice lens. I think it's a really cinematic lens. And obviously, it's full frame, full autofocus, and all that sort of stuff. And I will have a video coming from that soon. We'll fire it up on E-mount and on Z-mount. Check it out. And I think it's around 1,000. I think it's 1,000 US. Let me just double check that. But what's your favorite?
Because Kase, from what I understand, they make filters. So now they're getting into. They also make like ND filters, circular polarizer filters, all that stuff. That's how I knew Kase from years ago. And that's and then now and actually own some of those, and then now they're making lenses. So interesting, very interesting.
You know, they make those lenses. I can't remember what they're called, but the lenses with the mirrors in them. There's a specific name for them, which I've just gone blank on.
Right.
And then this is their first foray into kind of a standard lens. But here's their website, and you can see here that it's £639. So yeah, it must be 1,000 Australian dollars. So you know, this means it's a pretty premium lens, I think, and I'm pretty confident we're going to see it for at least Z-mount in the coming future. You know, some of these things take a little bit of time, but there's just so many amazing things for us to play with and just so many opportunities. Now, James is asking a question that I need to answer, so I'm just going to... Sorry, I'm doing this on my laptop, not with a mouse, so everything is slightly slower and a bit more all over the place than I would like to be.
I can help you on that if you need that question. He's asking you, did you miss your Nikon R Crest filter review, or did he miss it?
Yes. No, James, my apologies. I don't know if you've seen my 2-hour film, which, you know, I'm trying to sort of, you know, get up there with Christopher Nolan making, you know, big films. My 2-hour video. about the R6 II, the A7 IV, and the R5 II. That basically just took me forever, and now I'm getting back into doing things again. I know we spoke maybe in this very place about a month ago about that, and I said coming soon.
Yeah.
It's still coming soon. I haven't forgotten. What I can tell you about them is, though, in genuine real terms, I've used those filters on the front of not only Nikon lenses but other lenses as well, and they're amazing. And for example, you know, when I did do that massive 2-hour video, the other cameras didn't have filters on them just because the other lenses on the other cameras, just because they're kind of newer. Whereas I had
Right.
them, and I believe in them that much that I just don't think they have any diminishing quality. But I will do an actual side-by-side test, probably with the 135 lenses, because I have a Sony 135, I have the Viltrox 135, and I have the Planner, of course, 135. So coming soon,
Yeah.
James. My apologies, it's taking a long time. There is just so much stuff coming across my desk at the moment. I mean, Bobby, you and I both know sometimes we get one email from somebody about something a day. Sometimes we get 4. So it's
Yeah.
and Bobby and I were just talking about yesterday how we get emails from companies and we can't even tell whether they're real or not. And some of them aren't real, but you have
It's
to
true.
spend time researching just to work out that they're real or not. And this one was from someone pretending to be Kodak. So yeah, it's a big
Yeah.
thing.
I mean,
And
it's
you go.
tricky. It's very tricky out there. It's very, very tricky. There's a lot of fraud out there, a lot of scams, and they're very good at these emails now.
Yes, they are. Now, John Ishii is letting us know that Matt Granger has got his review out of the Kase already. Mine is in production, so it'll be coming out probably next week at this stage.
Mine's in the warehouse at
Yes.
Kase.
Yeah. Now, Craig C, he really wants the 85 1.4 holding out for the Nikon one. I'm confident. I'm confident that will come. You know, they've done the 35, they've done the 50. Why not put the whole set together? I think that's absolutely a
Agree.
brilliant idea to get that whole set. Welcome to anybody who's joined us since we kicked off. Thank you very much for being here. It's great to have you here. Anthony Stonehouse is saying Nikon will probably make a cheaper 85 1. Exactly right. I believe it will be in that
true.
vein. It'll continue to be in that vein. Very good. Well, there's a bit of new hardware. Otherwise, it's been a kind of slow hardware week, hasn't it, Bobby? I think it has been a fairly slow week for other things.
It's not been for me, but there's things I just can't talk about yet, so I have to keep those under wraps. Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. So, but I did get the Mavic 4 Pro in sent for review, so I have that available for review. The big drone from DJI.
Oh, what's that
Mavic
like?
4 Pro. I mean, I haven't. It's here.
You've got it. Well, show us. We want to see it.
This one.
Oh, wow.
That one. Yeah.
Nice.
So
has it gone in the air yet?
No, I got to get it registered here, and because we're
wow.
doing these things called National Day Parade here. So basically, what it is that every year, Singapore likes to do a whole big military parade, kind of bring the country together, that stuff. And so airspace is quite restricted at this time of year. So there's days I can fly and days I can't fly. So I'm going to get this registered today and get this bird up in the air. On the weekend, I can't fly it at all. So I can only do it during the week and in certain locations.
Oh.
So it's a little challenging, but yeah, love to try this out. Of course, the Micro Four Thirds sensor in this and the main camera system. The whole way this drone flies and how with all the sensors, I'm blown away by it. So I'm excited for that one. Other things will be coming soon. Things will be coming soon. That's all I can say.
Yeah, I've heard there's things maybe coming from Leica and Sigma. So maybe they're the things that you're not telling us about, but we'll see.
No. You're all good on those things. Both of those brands are okay right now. Yeah, something different.
Okay.
But
all right, it's something else.
Johnny, she's got a something else. Johnny, she's got a question here. QQQ, can you fly in Singapore? Yeah, John, it's you can, but it's very restricted right now. So only certain days you can fly it in certain locations because of because all the military planes, all the Air Force planes and helicopters are flying out doing their practice runs for this National Day Parade, as they call it. So it does restrict.
So James is asking, do you think Nikon will produce a 105, 1.4 or 1.2? So I made a video about this. I'd like to think we might get a crazy, ridiculous 1.2, but it just might be too big and too expensive. And thus, it'll follow in the footsteps of the 105, 1.4 f-mount, which was one of their final f-mount lenses and one of their best ever lenses. So, you know, we can dream for a 1.2. We will. There's no doubt we'll get a 1.4 at some point, and we can hope for a 1.2. Bobby, do you have thoughts on that one?
I mean, if you get a 1.2, that'll come with a Nikon rep to come to carry it to your house. It'll be that big.
Yeah.
Yeah. You pay for the representative to stay at your house. You basically just your own Sherpa from Nikon. It's a Nikon. They're going to call it the Sherpa. That's basically what it is. It's the 104.
There you go.
The 105 1.2. Yeah.
Sherpa. That's a good one. I like
I'm
it.
telling you.
All right.
What do we come up with in the mornings here, Matt?
I'm thinking it's a 105 1.0 Sherpa. That's what it is.
There we go.
Because it's 7 kilos and at the front element's about this big on your shoulder, and you literally need to put it on the Sherpa's shoulder to make it work.
Basically, that's it. That's it, James. Good running with that one. The 105 Sherpa. That'll be the next lens.
That is gold. Now, Seth's, Matt, where are you? What's this setting? Yes, Seth. So I'm at my warehouse today, and maybe at the end of this episode, I'll do a little spin around of the camera so people can see my giant 60-inch Epson printer and all of the stock that I have here. So, yeah, this is it.
You know what I'm noticing, Matt, though, behind you, your very high-end computer behind you. I'm noticing that.
That is that computer. Can I tell you that Mac? It's a Mac Classic, Mac SE, whatever it is. It's an SE30.
Yeah,
that is not a prop. That was real, and it used to be. Can you believe, in my darkroom, Bobby? And I used to have a database in there, a Microsoft database with all of the exposures and settings for when I used to print, because I used to print massive volumes of. So it'd be like this is the print. It would tell me. I don't know if you've ever done darkroom printing, but it would have a time. It would have an aperture.
Yeah.
And I would have dodging and burning. And all of these settings were in a database, so I didn't. Every time I came back to reprint something, I just knew I could just put the neg in, dial up the time, and just get straight into it. I didn't have to experiment. And it would even have the I don't know if you know about photographic paper, but it has contrast levels. 1 being not very contrasty, up to 5, which is very contrasty. And you would literally buy the paper that would do that. Mm-hmm. Or back in the day, you could buy multi-contrast paper where you put filters in your enlarger and it would change it. So we were doing Photoshop before there was Photoshop, basically. And
you are Photoshop. You are the Photoshop.
I am Photoshop. I want the 105 1.0 Sherpa. That's what I want. Let's make that happen. So yes, that's where I am, and that's the real computer that was really in my darkroom. And wow. it was a lot of fun. But yes, and see that neon sign that used to be at my gallery. That's my logo with the word art in it. So
very cool.
Yeah, there's lots of artifacts here from my business, but we'll see. Like I've got a giant. You love this, Bobby. I've got a giant cupcake and a giant banana over there that we used as props in a photo shoot about 25 years ago. And when I say a giant cupcake, it's about it.
It's big.
It is very sweet. Aren't you funny? All right. Enough of me talking about my warehouse for now. I just wanted to do a very quick update for those following the Nikon Z8 through 3.0 saga. If it's a saga, I don't think it's really a saga.
What works and what doesn't?
Well, it just keeps changing. So already Megadap and Fringer have brought us firmware that has brought both of those adapters, they're the E to Z adapters, has already brought them back to fully working. And you could watch an episode that I put out, I think it was yesterday or the day before, where I've got the beautiful E-mount 135 1.8 on the Z8, and man, it is functioning. It's super fast. It's working brilliantly. You've got IBIS, you've got everything you could want. So things are already tracking along. And, you know, I've heard on the grapevine that we Tamron are working from their end, and things are going to be happening pretty quickly from a Tamron perspective. Although some people are telling me in the comments some of their Tamron lenses are working, so it seems to be a bit of a mixed bag. And also, I tested out the Viltrox lab lens, the Viltrox 135 1.8. Not only is it working fully with 3.0 without a firmware update, but it actually is able to use the focus limiter feature as well.
Oh,
So I think
look at Bill Trucks.
ultimately, yeah, I think ultimately what this says to me, because that lens is quite new, right? Like, what is it? It's not even a year old, I don't think. It's only 6 months old.
Yeah,
or
maybe
something.
like 6 months. Yeah.
So it's got a newer, it's probably got a newer build of their firmware, which means, it's just a few firmware updates here and there. Whether some of it is from the third parties and some from Nikon, who knows? But this thing is already being solved, so I don't think we have anything at all to worry about.
Yeah, we'll be okay.
So it'll all be all right. Everyone should be happy and calm. And as they say in England, what do they say in England? Something about
You're asking the wrong
keeping
guy.
calm. Yeah, that's true. You're not in England. I'm not in England. Why am I trying to quote the English? I have no idea. Very good.
Hey, Matt, we've already launched the 105 Sherpa. That's our launch for today. Is the 105 Sherpa.
That is all we need to do today, isn't it?
That's it. That's it.
That's absolute gold. I think you need to copyright that.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Yeah.
Jay's saying he used to travel with a Mac SE. I had a bespoke handbag made for it. Wow. They were the good old days when laptops were that big. That's a big laptop.
Yes, it is.
Gustavo's saying that Nikon did a good job of implementing the focus limiting. Has anybody out there actually played with it? I think it's a brilliant feature. It's one of those really simple, elegant things, yet here it is, it's coming to us, and hopefully it's rolled out to all the other XP 7 cameras. Who's actually used it? Who's enjoying it? Who's got any ideas on how to change it and play with it? Bobby, what do you think of the focus limiter?
Honestly, I haven't played with it much because I had to review the Tamron 16-30, and because of that, I did not upgrade it to 3.0. So I had the pre-production version of that firmware that I think a lot of us had on another Z8, but I've never got into it that much. So unfortunately, I'm probably not the best person to ask for it at this point in time, but I will try it as soon as I can update 3 to 3.0, get all the lenses working that I'm testing, then I'll jump into it. Yeah.
Yeah, so Craig C is saying focus limiter is really cool, retains settings for each lens and each custom setting bank. Yeah, that's cool that it remembers what lens you've put on. And Jay Blue and Dave E. Stewart have let us know that it's keep calm and carry on is what I was trying to say.
Keep calm and carry on.
Yes, keep calm and carry on, everybody. It doesn't matter. The world is exploding, but we'll be fine. Keep calm and carry on. So great work. Coolest game ever on the Mac, says Jim. It's the Uninvited. Okay. All right.
Oh.
And Jay Blue's letting us know that if you want to learn more about focus limiter, that Steve Perry has a terrific video on the setup and usage of the focus limiter. Very good. Oh, here we go. Another focus limiter trick is turn the focus ring and you can use focus peaking too. That's a great trick. Thank you so much, Craig. There's so much to learn about. Like Nikon implements these things, and there's so many parts to it.
They don't describe this to us at all. Like when we get when we get a briefing, it's usually top line. That's it.
Totally.
And then people discover this, and they're like, "Why didn't you guys tell us this?" Is like, because we had no idea.
Yeah, they don't know either.
There's a lot of small things. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I love that you can just drag the ring, and that's gonna work for you as well. Klaus, I'm not sure how to say that with the
Klaus
accents.
Klaus. Yes.
Hi,
Klaus.
I use the Nikon Z8 as my workhorse for wildlife and landscape photography and for filming. I would love to get a small EDC for photography only. What's an EDC?
Everyday camera.
Oh,
everyday camera.
A small everyday camera.
Everyday carry. You could say
everyday carry. Nice. Is there a chance for a ZF styled Nikon rangefinder? Well, Klaus, me and Joe, we've been dreaming about a thing called a Z1, which is basically based on the SP. Bobby, do you want to talk about the SP while I try and find one to show everybody what it looks like?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, this is one of the Nikon's well-revered rangefinder film cameras back in the day, S3, SP. I think John Ishii actually has an SP, if I'm not mistaken. He has a
He
limited edition
does.
run of those.
You are
He
right.
does, and it's
You're right. He does.
absolutely beautiful. And he did a video on it, and I was like just salivating over that camera.
Yeah.
So yeah, if you want a Nikon everyday carry, you know what? There's those
Here
pocket
it is.
cameras that Nikon made back in the day that are actually really beautiful, and they still
Yeah.
perform extremely well. I forget what it's called. Nikon One or something like that. I forget what it's called. Do you
Oh
remember
well,
that
yeah, the
camera?
one I've got the V1, which is fun, a fun little digital mirrorless camera back from 2011.
Yeah.
Not as pretty
Yeah.
as the
So I mean,
SP though. Have a look on the
no, it's
screen
not
now,
as pretty
Bobby.
as the
The
SP.
SP.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let me take a look at the SP real quick first.
Look at
Look at
these
that. I'm
things
looking
here.
here.
That's
It's a piece of art.
that's just gold. Look at
That's
that.
a yeah. I'm looking at
Yeah.
us right now. Well, actually, mine is frozen here, but let me pull that up here. Uh, give me a second. There it is. Look at that SP. Ooh, thing of beauty. If Nikon would make this, I think he would do extremely, extremely well. But
Yep.
I don't know if they will or not. I think they're going to probably focus on the ZF side of things for the most part. But if they were to venture into this, I would say they would have a home run, absolute home run.
Yeah, Klaus, you can see this here on the screen. Would this be the sort of thing that you're thinking of for your EDC, your everyday carry?
Most of us would
I
think of
certainly
that.
want one, and if it was essentially a ZF interior in that body, that would be absolute magic from my perspective. Absolute
Yeah.
magic.
I mean,
With,
Jim says he says like pretty limited selection for SPs lens selection for SPs nowadays. I mean, yeah, if you were to put it to the Z mount, I mean, obviously the 28 f2.8, the 40 f2 would probably be your two lenses that you use. You might be able to put the 35 1.4 on and those kinds and the 50 1.4, but anything larger, it would be very challenging. But then again, I mean, it's okay. A couple lenses, a 28 and a 40, I think you're going to be set. You know what I mean? For the camera like this, you don't need anything other
oh
crazy
yeah,
outside of that.
and of course, people will make grips just like they make, thumb holds for Leicas and whatever else. There'll always be a
Oh,
way to.
I did get a grip for the SP for the BF. I did. That's something I got this week. Speaking of grips,
Oh,
the
oh, can you
Sigma
show us?
BF, I got a grip. Uh,
Where is
I
it?
can, but just give me just go to a single camera real quick. I'll pull it out. Go to a single
Yeah,
shot and I'll
just
pull it out.
give me a second. Matt only. There we go, Matt only. So here we go. Oh, my mic's been muted. No, can everyone hear me? Can everyone still hear me? Because the stream for some reason said I've been muted, but I don't think we're using that. Let me.
There you go. Let me go grab it real quick.
Can you still hear me, Bobby?
Of course.
Yeah, cool.
I can
I
hear
don't
you.
know.
You sound good.
The
You sound
software
good.
said I'd been muted for some reason.
Uh,
Are you ready to
gotta
come
love
back on
Ecamm.
camera?
I'm pulling it out here real quick, Matt. Hold on a second. Let me just
You're
pull it out of
pulling it
its
out.
pouch.
Okay. Oh, okay.
That sounds very wrong. It sounds very wrong on video, but yes.
It did.
Welcome to the
You're
BAM
back.
Live podcast.
Yeah,
I'm back,
that's
baby.
it.
I pulled it out. Here it is in its glory. There
Yeah.
we go.
Okay.
Can
Oh,
you see
there's the
that? Is
grip.
it a focus?
Not quite. Just go down near your mic. It's your mic. There you go. You're in focus. Good call. Let me go full camera on you. Please hold. There you go. I love that camera. I know some people don't, but I love it just as a that could sit in the Museum of Modern Art. How good is that?
It is beautiful.
Yeah.
It is beautiful. That's it right there.
Yeah.
I got this from Taobao from China,
Oh yeah.
and it is made of aluminum. It cost me about $70 with 70 Singapore dollars, including shipping. Got here in a
Yep.
few days, and I'll tell you, this is very well made, extremely well made.
Yep.
And it does give a little bit more. I mean, look, it's not a huge grip, but it does give you a little bit something extra to hold on to the BF while you're using it. And also, there's another hole there so you can put the strap, so you actually can hang it like this on your chest if you wanted to do that. So you can put two-peak design like that. So yeah, this camera is beautiful. It is, and I mean, autofocus on it's fantastic. I mean, we talked about this previously, but it's a really fun everyday carry camera. Going back to what
Beautiful
Kase
segue,
was asking
Bobby.
about, obviously. Yeah, I try my best mount, but it's not a Z mount, unfortunately. It is L mount, but it is a great everyday carry. Yeah.
Sigma make beautiful lenses to go with their beautiful camera. That's cut from.
Yeah.
Did you ever see the show Monkey? If I said to you a TV
Monkey.
show Monkey,
No,
it came out of
no.
China in like the 80s, and Monkey was cut from stone. The BF feels like it's it's cut from the very earth, doesn't it?
Yes, it does. It is stunning. I mean, this is a camera that I would say the only other cameras that this, I mean, if you put into the beautiful designs, I mean, I would say Leica, like an M11 or
Yep.
M11P for that matter. This Hasselblad, I mean, this is just a gorgeous piece of craftsmanship. And I mean, the ZF is close in many ways, but this is really one piece of aluminum, unbelievable. I mean, I'm just like blown away by this thing every time I pick it up.
Yeah, it's gorgeous. It's absolutely gorgeous. John Ishii's everyday carry is his GFX, his GFX RF. Oh, man, who wouldn't love one of those? I would love one of those as
I'm
my everyday carry.
Yeah, not bad at all. It's a smaller camera, good to go, good to carry around. But hey, John, a
Well,
question. I got a question for John on this one because since he's
yes.
listening in today, how do you find it with no IBIS on the camera system? That's the question I have, especially in lower light, because in daylight it's good, but in low light with no IBIS inside that camera, I found it challenging when I used it. But I'm curious what John thinks.
Well, we'll have to wait.
But
We've got a bit of a delay there.
yeah,
It's
yeah,
like we're talking to
no
the
worries.
moon. It's got the 7 minute delay,
Yes.
but no, it won't be quite that long. What we'll wait for John's response, and we will
Yeah.
next start talking about our predictions
Oh,
for the cameras. We'll have a bit of a play. This is just a fun speculation. What do we think is going to come out in the lead up to the end of year holiday season from everybody, or just until we get tired, you know? And everybody, make sure you give us a
yes.
like, and if you haven't subscribed to me or Bobby, do that. Yeah.
Until we get
Or
tired.
until the coffee runs out, although I haven't had tea or
That's
coffee.
true.
Anyway.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we'll
Uh,
wait to see what John has to say shortly.
Seth goes GFX RF with no IBIS isn't a big deal. Being MF, you can speed up the shutter more and not worry so much about boosting ISO when doing so. Yes and no, Seth. I mean, when I shot this in low light in a restaurant, man, I try to speed up that shutter speed, but the ISO creeped up and I lost the benefits of medium format. It just looked like a very mushy image, with the ISO on that camera because it maxes out like for me at 6400 and beyond that, it just yeah, why even have medium format? That was just my take on it.
Yeah, well, everything's kind of got this triangle of limitation that you reach before
Yeah,
you can't rely on shutter, aperture, and ISO because they're all being pushed to the max. So that's
yeah.
when you need IBIS. And if you get to that point that you need IBIS to kick in and it's not there, but everything short of that, obviously, it's brilliant. That seems to be the feedback.
Jim says, my prediction is Bobby will buy an M11 Safari. Well, Jim, no, not the Safari, but something
Oh,
else did come in,
oh,
but not the
hello.
Safari. Yeah,
Yeah, we're
yeah.
not allowed to talk about it. All right, so that's a great segue to what are our predictions, Bobby, for new cameras between now and the end of the year? And let's start with Leica.
Leica. Well,
Leica.
uh, well, well. I think my prediction is we will probably see some sort of M variant. You know what I'm saying?
Sure, I'm
Um,
hearing you.
Yeah, but I mean, I think that's probably my prediction on that. I don't think we'll see an S4, the medium format camera, at least this year. I probably think that'll come maybe next year, if there is
Uh-huh.
such a thing. Because I mean, I think it's a really, I mean, because for the price point that Leica was selling the Leica S3 medium format, it was far above the GFX and the Hasselblad, and it's a smaller sensor. So I don't know. I don't know what their plans are for medium format. If they do, I think it'll have to be priced more aggressively, but we'll find out. In terms of the SL range, I don't think anything else is going to come out with the SL range. Maybe a limited edition, like a different colorway, but that would be it. For the M camera, obviously there's talks of this M11V. Again, will they do it? Will they not? Will they wait? Is it something that they want to do? You know what I mean? Because the thing about
Is
all
it
these camera
M12?
companies is that they're Yeah, is it a 12? Is it an M12 or is it something completely different? Because these camera companies are always testing cameras all the time, and some are in the wild and some are not. And they're just trying to find out what the right approach is. So if people are talking about what they're thinking of today, it could be very different from what actually gets released. So yeah, I mean, those are kind of my thoughts. Lenses wise, I do think they'll probably come out with some other lenses. I just don't know what. You know what I mean? There's the rumor of a 35 Noctilux, but again, does it make sense? Is it necessary? What would be the price point on it? Would people buy it? I don't know. Be interesting. Be interesting. I mean, but Leica is probably one of the brands right now where I don't know exactly what would be coming out with, but I feel, yeah. I mean, I feel probably 2026 may be a bigger year for them, but that's just my guess in terms of because they've already announced so many limited editions for the 100-year anniversary that I don't know if they'll come out with anything more, but that's just me.
Well, you are the Leica expert on the BAM pod, so we will move on to why don't we
Yeah.
move on to OM, which I I don't really know much
OM.
about OM either. Do you know anything about OM?
Yeah, I mean a little bit. I mean, obviously, I just tried the
Sure.
OM5 Mark II, and
Oh
I've got a full
yes,
review coming on that soon. I got more lenses that they sent me to shoot with, so that's cool. The
nice.
OM3 just came out earlier this year. The OM1 Mark II has been out for a little bit. I have, if they do come out with anything, I think it would be an update to the OM1 Mark II, maybe a Mark III, just to sort of set it apart more from the OM3. That'd be my guess. Again, what features would it have? Because those cameras have so many features, Matt. It's just, I mean, when you look at
Yes.
the feature set of these cameras, it's unbelievable. And for the size, but again, they're battling that micro four thirds stigma. It's like, do people want to get into micro four thirds in 2025? Is there a market for it? I think there is, but is it enough to sustain a large business model? I don't know. You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, I mean, it's pretty clear to me that they supercharge the OMs in order to, try and offset as much as they can because of the sensor being literally, half the size. A 50 mil lens is a 100 millimeter field of view equivalent. So half the size focal length wise, but actually area wise, it's significantly smaller than that. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see what the future holds for OM. Why don't we move to Canon? What are we expecting from Canon moving forwards? I think the most likely next step would be an R6 III, wouldn't it? If that's coming,
Uh,
and maybe another
yeah,
R7 or R10.
yeah. I think you're right. An R6 III makes sense. I think they need to come out with that camera. I mean, it's been how many years? Because you did your grandiose
Yes,
Christopher Nolan review, and
yes.
how old was that camera?
Oppenheimer too. It was Oppenheimer.
Oppenheimer
Actually,
too.
it was.
Yes, yes.
No, it was more like Tenant. I think it was more like Tenant than Oppenheimer. Um,
Go back and
or more like what's the other one? The other one with the
Lord
going
of the
inside the
Rings.
dreams. No, the
Oh
inside the
yeah.
dreams. Christopher Nolan.
Uh,
Why have I gone blank on what that's called?
yeah. I forget. I know what you're
I
talking
love
about, but
that
yeah, me
film.
too.
Anyway, that one. I think it's more like that. Yes, it's 2.5 years old. The R6 II.
Yep.
There's some things it's really good at, but I do think a BSI sensor would be a really good move for the
Yep.
Canon R6 III. It doesn't. The
I
current
agree.
one doesn't have one. Um,
Mm.
and and I say this with love. I really think they need to open up their mount. Nikon's doing it. Sony does it. Uh, and well, Leica, I suppose, are kind of the L mount is in its own special space where you've got Panasonic, Leica, and Sigma are all making a lot of lenses. So there's more freedom there in the L mount.
Yeah.
The RF really needs to open up, and right now, I think officially they're only allowing APS-C third-party lenses. And we've got
Yeah.
we've
I
got
mean,
some more
no way.
news coming in that front soon, by the way.
They
Um,
they
but
actually are
but it's
allowing
still just
Voigtlander to do Voigtlander full frame.
okay.
They can do Voigtlander full frame. Yeah.
But are they manual or AF?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Manual
there's
focus.
there's actually an enormous range because I did a lot of research on this. There's an enormous range of manual RF lenses. Lots of brands that we kind of
Yeah.
hardly hear of. Huge amount. Maybe heading towards 100. But when it comes to autofocus lenses, it's very very minor. So that to me is probably the single biggest thing that they need to think about. And it's strange to me because they have similar market share to Sony, right? So you
Yep.
know, why would you want to put that at risk by not having, you know, just not having people having access to third-party opportunities. Like, I think it was a valid statement when before that very first Viltrox lens arrived. I think it was in late 2000, 2020, early 2021. You know, the Z mount appeared to be closed, and then the Viltrox did that 85 1.4, and off we went from there. That was a big Inception. Thank you, Klaus, very much. The film was Inception. You know, once that first Viltrox AF lens arrived, and then obviously they've opened it up and we've got tons coming out now. Like, that's a really important, I think that's a really important component. But yeah, the R6 III, I'm guessing probably won't change megapixels, and will just have a better sensor and more power in it. Things like a full-sized HDMI port, I think, are super critical. Interestingly, I was testing that fully manual. I don't know if you've seen the review of the Sure lenses that you can change the mounts on. So I made a video where it's on all those 4 mounts: L, E, RF, and Z. And I don't know, like I spent an hour trying to researching how to get the IBIS to work on a manual non-Canon lens. And it just didn't seem to work very well on the R6 II. It worked fine on the other 3 cameras. So I don't know if they're, the famous Canon cripple hammer, I don't know if they're crippling this, or I had a setting wrong, but I did a lot of Googling, and so things like that, where I just think they need to play more friendly with just third parties and other options and all that sort of thing.
I agree.
There's no R5 III, obviously. That's going to come in another couple of years. We don't need a new R1, and so it might be more at the bottom end, the R10s and the R7s, that they might do 2 versions of those.
I agree.
Would you like to talk about Sony or Nikon next, Bobby? I'll let you choose this time. Oh, by the way,
why don't we do Sony first?
Okay, well, I'll take that comment off the screen.
What's up?
He was Gilad Volkor was saying, I just want a Nikon cinema camera with some red tech, but we'll get to that.
Yeah, well, we'll get to those things. That's coming up very, very soon. I mean, I'm sure as soon as we get to the Nikon category, there'll be lots to talk about. Sony-wise, let's talk about Sony. Obviously, the A7 V, I think, will be a camera that we will see this year. And from what the rumors are stating, it looks to be a Lumix S1R2 competitor. Basically, I'm hearing 44 megapixel. It's not going to be stacked, which looks to be the same sensor on paper, if you look at megapixels, as the S1R2, which would make it very interesting that they would now get away from the 24, even 33 or 34 megapixel, go into 44, and then provide, obviously, decent video specs, because the S1R2 is actually really good for video. But if they can solve the overheating issue that Panasonic is facing with the Lumix, this would be a very competitive camera for a lot of people out there. So this made it quite exciting when I heard that rumor. I was like, ooh, wait a second, 44 megapixels. Because that means you got the A1 Mark II at 50, the A7 V at 44, the A7R5 at 60, which I believe could be bumped up, never know, for an A7R6. And then you keep your smaller cameras, like your A7C2 and all that stuff, in that 24 to 33 range. And that does sort of give a nice segmentation, I feel, without overlapping, versus what other camera companies are doing with having multiple 24 megapixel cameras, and they're kind of overlapping each other.
Yeah, when I saw that same announcement from Sony Alpha Rumors, and they said, look, it's either 33 or 44, 20 frames per second, semi-stack sensor, and I'm like, but isn't that sort of, when it comes to stills photography, isn't that getting really close to the A1? And wouldn't a lot of people just go, hey, I'll just go for the A1? I'll just go for the A7 IV, because in real terms, there's not a very big difference between 45 megapixels and 50 megapixels. So yeah, I saw that. I think it'd be great, but I'd be really surprised if that happened, that we get 44 megapixels, 20 frames per second raw, and I don't know, it's basically an A1. Like, it's pretty similar to the original A1, not the A1 II, of course. Like it probably maybe, well, no, you could do 8K. You can do 8K at 44, as you say. It's the same as the
you can.
The Lumix.
You can.
So, and
Yeah, you
then they
can.
were suggesting the price would be 3,000 USD. So, I don't know. It's a very important camera. They obviously, and it's heading towards its 4-year birthday at the end of this year. So it's time, and I'm
Mm.
sure they want to, impress everybody. So you never know.
Yeah.
To me, the other option is it'll still be 33, but they'll give us a more modern 33. It'll be a lot faster, and some of the overheating that you and I talked about a few weeks ago, that the A7 IV is known for. Fix that stuff, as you've said, like Lumix need to fix it. Um, who knows? But I
Yeah.
reckon
Oh,
it's coming soon.
speaking of which, on the Lumix side of things, so there was a really good video that was out, that came out, I think, a couple weeks ago by a guy named Josh Cameron. Now, he's one of these guys that does primarily Lumix or L mount videos, primarily Lumix, and he did a very extensive test on the S1R2 and the S12 in terms of overheating, and he found that the CF Express card was the culprit for a majority of these problems because of the heat, because these cards are metal. You know what I mean? Versus an SD card, which is plastic. So that when these cards heat up, it becomes like, basically, I mean, the heat from the metal just expands and it
Yeah,
gets into the
it's a
system, and
heat
it's
sink.
doesn't. Yeah, exactly. So, what I've done over the last couple of shoots with the S1R2, because I still have it from the review, is I tried SD cards, and lo and behold, my performance at 7.2K open gate, because in PAL, 8.1K for the NTSC groups in America, North America, but for PAL for us is 7.2. Open gate, SD card, and it took a long time before that overheating sign came on. Much longer than it did with the CF Express. So I was like,
Interesting.
oh, okay, there's something here to that. So if you do have a Lumix S1R camera or S12 camera, you may want to try the SD cards, because most of the codecs, from what I understand, except ProRes RAW and ProRes HQ, can be done on SD cards. It doesn't have to be CF Express. So that's something I found out, and based on my testing, I'm seeing that it's a much better improvement on the camera system.
And also, my understanding is not all CF Express cards are made equal. Some have better thermal,
Yeah,
they handle thermal issues better than others, and
yeah.
that's been shown by a few practitioners out there. Okay, so A75 we think is very likely. They're also talking about 3 cameras have been registered, and the idea that another ZV, whatever. I don't know how many I've lost track of how many of them there are now. The
There's a lot of these
ZV
smaller
10.
Yeah, I feel like they need to condense that. I have a feeling that Sony is going to sort of just take all those variants and just bring it into one or two, because it gets very confusing. And I think they're not probably selling all of them as much as they would like to. So it just makes sense to sort of condense that line, get it to like one camera that's good, and leave it there. But
Yeah.
I don't know. Again, it's kind of like a spray and pray thing for certain camera companies. They just try things out to see what works. But I have a feeling that'll happen. Everybody wants to see an update to the RX1, the sort of the
Yes.
compact camera, the high resolution compact that kind of battles against the Q series from Leica and other
Yes.
cameras out
Yes.
there. People have been seeing, I think, the RX1 too, that's been out for many years. So that'd be cool if they come out with something like that. That'd be great.
Yeah, and I suppose there's expectation of an A7R6 probably next year. I'm guessing, but
Yeah.
not
Oh,
not
or
probably
by end
not
of the
before the
year.
end of this year. Oh, you reckon by the end of the year?
I I think by end of this year we'll probably get an A7R6. I think so. I think
Okay.
that we'll
Okay.
probably get at least an announcement. Again, we may not see the camera up for sale till early 2026, but kind of like what they did with the A1
Yes.
Mark II. They announced it, and then it took a
Yeah.
while for it to get to market.
Yeah.
Jen Hammond says the A7CR is awesome. Agree. That is one fantastic camera. I don't know if did you ever try the A7CR, Matt?
Bruce has one, and I've spent a little bit of time with it, and I've spent time with Bruce's A7R5, and obviously you get the same result. It's just a different ergonomic experience and card
Yeah.
slots and so on. But yeah, no, I mean, there's no question that having all that power in a little body is, has its appeal. No question.
Yeah. VJ's asking a very good question here, Matt. He goes, I really need to learn all this video jargon tech. Being an amateur photographer for 30 plus years, getting into video starting this week. Anyone have a good resource class recommendations? That's a very good question. Matt, I think sometimes we get caught up in we know these terminologies because we talk about it daily. But I think for a
Yeah.
lot of people that want to get into video, it is very confusing. And it is it's intimidating to talk about video in terms of, codecs in 4K 25, 4K 30s, 8K, open gate, ProRes. It's all over the place. What are your recommendations on that?
Well, my first thought was maybe we should put out some content that does that,
Yeah.
in our
Yeah.
in our amazing comedic style that we have. um,
What?
Nobody springs to mind. Like there's so many channels and everybody's chipping away at their, at their corner. VJ, let's stick a pin in that, and we'll try and address it in the future as to who might be a good resource to talk about video specifically and terminology.
But you know what?
Yeah, I
Even
mean,
in the meantime,
I'd
VJ,
be
if you
happy
want
to
to
make
learn,
something like
you,
that. I'd be happy to make something like
yeah,
that
it'd be
anyway.
it'd be cool. It'd be cool. And VJ, in the meantime, you can always. I mean, I do this as well too. Is just go on ChatGPT and just ask questions and just ask it.
Yeah.
And please explain to me in layman's terms. You have to tell it how you want it to understand it. It will tell you a lot of things. It'll give you a little bit of a gateway into the more of a discussion that Matt or myself or somebody else could do in terms of video specs and what it means and all that stuff. But I use ChatGPT a lot for that. Just ask it the right question. I'll say, explain to me like a 5-year-old what this means, and it'll do it. So
Yeah.
try that out too,
Yeah.
BJ. Yeah.
Yeah. Great advice. Yeah, it's very useful for some things. I can say though, when doing my big video and doing a lot of research, it actually gets some things wrong. And there was something that I was double checking. It was wrong.
Yeah.
And I said to it, your last
Oh,
answer
yeah.
was wrong. Can you please check again? And it went off and it came back and said, yes, you're right. I was wrong. I've checked again. And this is actually the correct answer. And it got it right. So, you've got to be kind of careful, but it's good 99% of the time. And yeah, it's good. It's a good thing.
Yeah. I mean, but you know what I do for that? You know what I do for that, Matt? You know what I tell it to do? I'll say,
Tell me.
go on the web and check the latest information about this. So once you give it the prompt to go onto the web, then it searches the web. Otherwise, it goes to his database, which is wrong. I mean, I've had this happen many times where it goes wrong. So I always say, search on the web and then tell me. And then it comes back, oh, yes. Yeah.
That's great advice. You don't get better advice than Mr. Bobby Tonelli right here, right now, right there. Craig C. would love a video basics course. Robert Silver offered one in black and white. Not sure if it's still available. Sure. Well, we'll have a think about it. So, all right. There's not going to be a new A12. There's maybe going to be a new A7 R6. Is it time for a new I don't think there'll be an ACR2. That'll probably come a year or two after the 6. So that's maybe what we're expecting. Entry level A7 V and maybe an A7 R6 over the next 6 months or so. I think that's fair enough. And lenses, they seem to have a lot of lenses. I mean, the only place that Sony don't seem to go with lenses is super wide angle. And I mean, 12 mils pretty wide, but they don't seem to have fisheye. They don't seem to be into tilt shift either. So, and otherwise, I can't think of what else they're not really doing. Like, they seem to have a lot of everything, really. Don't they, Bobby?
Yeah, they do. They seem to have a lot of everything right now. Viltrox is really kicking it. They're really doing a lot of great stuff with this. But
yes, well, Viltrox are helping them out with the 1.2s. That's for sure.
That's true. I am waiting for. I'm waiting for a 50 from them.
Oh, which 50?
51.2.
A new one?
Which one? From Viltrox? I'm talking Viltrox.
Oh, from Viltrox. Sorry, I thought you were talking about email.
Yeah.
Sorry, Sony. Yeah, well, why
not?
No,
yeah, Sony email.
Yeah.
Sony email, Viltrox, yeah.
Yeah, that'll be exciting. Yeah.
But no, Sony email, I think right now they've got, I think everything Sony's got right now, they've done about everything in terms of they doubled up on all the lenses. They've got all the GM2s that they need. The 1.8, the 135 1.8 may be the next one that they come up with in a smaller version. But outside of that, I feel like they've got everything really locked in. And they're sort of like leading the way in terms of size, performance, and everything else. You know what I mean? So there is the rumor of a new 100 to 400, probably a faster aperture one, but I don't know if that's true or not. I mean, I've heard those rumblings for quite some time, but I would expect a new 135 1.8. That might be the lens to see this year.
Okay, we're looking forward to that. Seth just asked a question: when can I slide a dollar bill on your mat instead of these impersonal super chats donations. Seth, I can't wait to hang out with you in New York City.
Yeah.
You know, I'll get there as soon as I can. I've got a 10-year-old and a 12-year-old, and that's probably the hardest part right now. But you know I'm there as fast as I can.
Yeah.
And
Exactly.
I want to talk to you about some other things a bit later anyway. But thank you. Love your work. And yeah, we'll make it happen. Don't you worry. We will make it happen.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's. There's three brands left to talk about: Fuji, Lumix, and Nikon.
Nikon.
What's next, Bobby?
Let's talk Nikon, Matt. Let's talk.
Okay,
I think something about me tells me that this live stream wants to hear about Nikon. Fujifilm, maybe not so much.
Nah. Well,
Nikon,
Fujifilm,
I'm thinking maybe people like Nikon. People like Nikon. I don't know. Just
the beauty
something.
of Fujifilm is that there's actually not much to talk about because they put out about 75 cameras in the last 6 weeks anyway. So
it's true.
They're kicking goals. Like, you know, they've done a half, they've done a whole, they've done a overhaul, they've done it all. They've done everything.
Shit.
Hey, Seth, did you hear that we invented a new lens? You know how we've got the planner?
Yeah, the Sherpa.
And we've got the Noct. We've now got the Sherpa. Bobby invented the Sherpa. It's a 105 f1, and it comes with a Sherpa, so it's going to be called the Sherpa. Anyway, moving along. All right, let's go Nikon. Let's do it.
Yeah. What do you think, Matt?
Z7 III. Yeah. Well, the Z7 III is a hard one because it's like I just feel like, you know, how do you what do you do?
It ain't happening.
Better? Okay.
Yeah, it ain't
not happening. Bobby says it's not happening. All right. Okay, cool. Let's
you know what? You know my take. You know my no. You know my take is the reason I say that is because every week we get a question about the Z7 III. Every week without fail, there will be somebody in the comments who goes, "What about the Z7 III? What about the Z7 III?" And you know, we've been asking about this camera for years. I don't think it's happening. If they do, it will be a long time coming. But yeah.
I mean, in serious terms, it's about technology. It's about how do you do more than what's in the market already. And you know, obviously, Sony have got that 60, Leica have got that 60, and I think to make an impression, it needs to be, you know, 80 or more. And you know, does that technology work today? And do we have the pipelines for it? And can the sensors be fast enough? I just think there needs to be advancement for it to be something that's compelling. That's my thought on that.
I agree. So I think we're not going to see it. Yeah, at least this year. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, well, we are talking between now and the end of the year. So I would agree with that. Obviously, we've just had a Z52 about 9 months ago. We've got the Z5 II. Recently, we've had the Z6 III. These are all great cameras that are going to keep cruising along. I suppose the next one is the Z9. Like the next thing that people are talking about is the Z9. I still feel like that camera, besides things like pre-capture RAW and 30 or 40 frames per second RAW, besides those two things, it's still an extraordinarily solid camera, of which I don't want to guess the numbers, but I would say the far majority of people are doing just fine with those two features not being here right now. And we've got to not forget that the R5 II and the A1 II were the first, you know, let's call them flagship cameras in that 45 to 50 megapixel category. They were the first ones to get pre-capture RAW. Their previous cameras didn't have pre-capture RAW. So it's relatively new to the industry. You know, the A1 II is still constrained. In other words, you can't just, you know, I'm sure you can walk into some stores and buy it, but we know that it's hard to get them. So these are relatively new cameras.
Yeah.
And so Nikon is not, you know, that far behind the market, or however you want to put it in that sense, because I mean the A1 II only essentially started shipping properly at the start of this year, 6 months ago. So So I don't know. I could see the Z9 hardware lasting another year or two, to be honest, in real terms. And of course, we just don't know whether they're going to hit us up with a firmware 6.0 that bring and you know, this allows us to have a little bit of a side chat about some of the firmware that isn't in the Z9, things like pixel shift and focus limiter. There's no question Z9 users would love the focus limiter feature, and you know,
I think it'll come.
Yeah, totally agree. I think it'll come. I think in real terms, we have to be realistic about the volume. Like, I would say more Z8s sell today and have
Yes.
probably sold in general than Z9s.
Yes.
And so
Yes.
Nikon has just got to juggle, you know, do we get the firmware out first for the camera that's still selling more and has sold the most, or do we get it out for the flagships? And I get it. People say they've spent more money, and so it should be sooner. And but let's not forget that Nikon has given us 4 major firmware updates for the Z9 that has changed it significantly from the camera that I bought. And can I tell you, it has changed. So, you know, I invested my money in 2021, and this camera is a very significant, a very different camera. And I'm very,
Of course.
you know, I'm very pleased of the fact that all of this advancement has happened, and I haven't spent a cent to get it. So, anyway.
I mean, that's hats off to Nikon for that. They've done a phenomenal job. They've done a fantastic job with that. They've really transformed this camera from what it was when it launched to today.
Yeah. So I don't think we'll see a Z9 between now and the end of Z9 II between now and the end of the year. Definitely. That's what I think.
But you know what? I do. But you know what, Matt? I'm going to say I kind of agree with Jay on this one. Jay's saying Z9 or Z9 successor could be announced in late 2025 with availability in May, June 2026. Yeah, nice. I would say probably announcement, yes. Availability will be sooner. I don't think it'll be a 6-month time frame. I think it'll be about 2 to 3 month time frame, because I think also towards the end of the financial year, they want to get some cameras out there that are going to make a big impact. Just from a business standpoint, I mean, that's what Fujifilm does quite a lot, is like towards the end of the year, of their financial year, they just do a mass release of a lot of cameras just to kind of get the numbers looking good. So I think that might be something that you may see with Nikon as well, is that they announce at the end of this year. And honestly speaking, I think it'll probably have a high resolution EVF, 5.76 like the Z6 III. You'll have pre-capture RAW. You'll get some of the features that you're getting in terms of what we have on the Z8, probably in a firmware update before then, and you'll probably get some red features and functionality. That's my take, because we've got to segue into that too, Matt, which I think is very interesting for Nikon. What are they going to do with the red technology?
Well, I'm confident a Z9 II will have red technology in it.
Yeah,
I'm confident of that.
I
just
agree.
wanted to say about Jay's comment. Yes, the pre-production announcement for the Z9 was about 9 months before it actually started shipping. So they certainly could talk about it maybe in the next 6 months, and then it comes out, you know, 9 to 12 months later.
Yeah.
Sure. Yep, that's possible. We might hear about it. Yeah. I mean, it would depend. If you're still selling Z9s, you'd be less inclined to do it. But if you're not, then sure, get people excited, I suppose. It's interesting. Seth is looking forward to the Z1 because he's heard it will read our thoughts. And
yes.
Courage Studios is asking, Bobby, you and I, what are our favorite lenses? Favorite lenses to shoot in general. Favorite lenses.
What's yours, Matt?
Look, the lens that gets used the most is the 50mm 1.2. It gets used every day for video and photography. But look, all those premium primes, I've basically been doing this almost 40 years, and they were the lenses. Why I'm so into those lenses is they are essentially the lenses I've dreamt of for years. They're the lenses that I wanted. You know, the 35 1.2, the 50 1.2, 85 1.2, and the Plenner. This was always where I wanted to be, and I wanted to be able to walk around at night, handheld, fast lenses, good IBIS. And I've literally been doing this for over 30 years, but I was doing it with tripods and film and, you know, with lenses that were 3.5s and 5.6s and zooms before I could afford this stuff. And then here we are. So all of those lenses are great. The 24 to 120 f4 is just, that's the lens I'll throw on a ZF or a Z6 III, Z6 whatever. and
Mm.
take it out with the kids, with the family, because you've got everything you need in that lens. And then if you're shooting some video and you
Yeah.
go to DX, you're out to 200 mil. So you've got this 24 to 200 essentially, in inverted commas, in one lens, and we know how sharp and how good it is. But yeah, so look, I use the primes the most, but I will use
Yeah.
my zooms. Like if I'm doing work, I'll pull out the 70 to 200 2.8 or the whatever. I mean, we're a bit spoiled by the fact that we can just literally go, we're like Batman. It's like, I need this bat suit today because this is what I'm doing. So I'm going to go out with that bat
Yeah.
suit. You know what I'm saying? And but no, the primes, those deluxe primes, they are just gorgeous. They never let you down. You get beautiful renderings every time, and so that's where I'm at.
Yeah, for me,
Bobby?
I love the 51.2. I love the 51.2 or 50 millimeter lens, regardless of setting system. I like 50 millimeters. I like 85, but if you get into the zooms, I do appreciate a 2870 f2. I tried that on the Sony E mount, and what a lens! My God, what a lens! Or the 35 150. I haven't tried the f2, or is it 51? What is the one from Sony? The 50 or 35 150? I think it is f2. But I've tried the Tamron version f2 to 2.8, and that is a great all-around lens. I like longer focal ranges for most of my stuff. If I do shoot wider, the lens I tried recently, which I liked a lot, was the Type 21 millimeter f1.4. That was a fun lens to shoot with, and I'm not a wide shooter, but that one was really fun, and I found it uh, very exciting to take something out like that focal range, do a 65 by 24 crop, and have a blast with it. But outside of that, though, I tend to like to get closer on subjects, and that's just me, and just the way I like to see the world. So, um, yeah. So, the 51.2 is great. I wish Nikon would make a smaller 51.2, but with the Mega adapter, you can always throw the Sony version onto it and get some good usage out of it. And obviously, other manufacturers will make some stuff out there as well. But yeah, um, yeah,
Very
you
good.
can
Now,
never go wrong with those. Yeah.
Jay Blue's saying Z mount video focused camera could be available in 2026. So we've obviously seen Nikon rumors talking about this camera,
Mm.
and we know that Nikon bought the Red Cinema camera company. It's now 18 months
Yeah.
ago. Well, it's 18 months ago that they publicly talked about it. I suspect conversations were going on for maybe even as long as a year prior to that. So yeah, we would certainly be expecting to see some fruit of that. The rumors are happening, so maybe.
I think before 2026. That's just my take. I could be
Yep.
completely wrong, but I have a feeling with all this talk about video out there in the market from Lumix and Sony, and I mean, those are the two really
Yeah, the
talking about it right
FX2.
now. The FX2 especially. I have a feeling Nikon is going to come out with something this year. Just a guess, have no idea about anything. That is going to be the Z9 of this sort of hybrid camera system in a way that's going to elevate it to another level with this red technology. That's just my take. I could be wrong, but that's my take.
Yeah, cool. I mean, it's very exciting, and the idea, the idea of mixing red technology and Nikon technology. I don't know how complicated that is. Obviously, we've started to get some LUTs, but I think LUTs is not kind of things like compression algorithms. I mean, that's something that
Yeah,
people are very excited a bit about, is red's compression, and whether I think we have absolutely no idea what sort of processor is inside a red camera to allow it to create those amazing codecs that they use. But yeah, look, it'd be very exciting, and I think we're all waiting with bated breath.
yeah.
So fingers are crossed on that front. Sorry, go on.
My only concern is though is that my only concern is because obviously we play with R3D files. They are very taxing on a system, and while they give you a lot of flexibility into your video, and these are raw files, and I mean, depending on the compression or the size that you want to film in, I mean, they can really just blow up your machine unless you have a top end machine. So yeah, that'd be my only concern is would they come out with a more sort of abbreviated format that would be more consumer friendly, that it doesn't come in various different files, that it's much more, it works on all different editing softwares without plugins. You know what I mean? Something that's a bit more, just easier to play with.
Yeah, totally agree with that. And we've heard Adobe saying that they're going to be supporting Nikon RAW soon. And I would like to see Final Cut Pro supporting all of these codecs just
Yeah.
as a Final Cut Pro users. So I hope that if they do create a mass market camera, that all of that sort of behind the scenes machinations happens as well. Because
Yeah.
it'd be great to create something, but if you can't use it on some of the major platforms we edit on, as much as I've tried with
Yeah.
DaVinci, I just prefer Final Cut Pro personally. Because you're a Final Cut Pro guy, aren't you? Mostly.
I do my color grading in Resolve, and then I do my edits in Final Cut because I like the magnetic timeline. If
Yeah.
if Resolve had the magnetic timeline, I probably would start using that a bit more because I love just the way, I mean, the colors out of the Resolve. I mean, they're I
Yeah,
wish,
it's famous for it.
I always thought Apple, yeah, it's famous for it. So it's just like using Capture One versus Lightroom in some ways. You know what I mean? The
Yeah,
colors
yeah,
just
yeah,
come out a bit different, and DxO for that matter too. So yeah.
yeah. Very good. All right. Well, I think the only camera company we didn't talk about was Lumix, but again, they've also just released. Was it 2 or 3 cameras? There were some variants.
Three cameras. I'm hearing rumors or rumblings of something else coming out this year. I don't know what, but
Right.
I think it could be maybe something like a box camera or something a bit more cinema based. I'm not too sure.
Oh
But
yeah.
right now, Lumix is trying to figure this overheating issue out, and I think this is one of their big problems they're having. Is they are fantastic camera systems. I mean, you have the
Yeah.
S5 II, I think S5 IIX, and
Yeah.
those alone were awesome. The new cameras
The
are even
Ibis.
better,
Oh
but
my
the
god.
overheat Ibis is unbelievable. And even
Yeah.
on the newer ones, it's even better, Matt. It's even better,
I can't.
right?
I don't know how
But
it
it's
gets
just
better, but far out.
it's cropless Ibis, and it's unbelievable. But
Yeah. Yeah.
the overheating is something that they need to take in consideration. And I think what we're finding here is that there is something to be said about size of camera, heat, and performance.
Yeah.
And I think what Lumix did is, or Panasonic did, is they put so many features in a body that's almost the same size as the S5 IIX. But in terms of the features and functionality, it supersedes it by almost 2 times. So at
Yeah.
what point does the heat become an issue? And then you go, okay, do we need to make a larger camera to circumvent this? And even with the fans turned to fast on those cameras, you're still going to get overheating on a CF Express card, for the most part. So I think that they may have to work out something internally. Maybe there is some sort of temperature monitoring system that is maybe a bit more sensitive. Maybe they can let it run a little bit longer. I don't know. I hope they fix it because I feel personally what they're doing is really elevating the camera industry in a way like Nikon did with the Z9. Is they're pushing this hybrid technology in a very unique way. They just got to get over this overheating hump.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's like we're pushing the physical limitations of these,
Yeah.
like it's physics, and
Yes.
I never forget the fact that these cameras are called hybrids, and anytime you put the word hybrid in a title, it means it's a compromise between two worlds because it's a hybrid, right? It doesn't just
Yeah.
excel at one thing. A prime lens is not a hybrid. A zoom lens is a hybrid of focal lengths. So sometimes I think companies get a bit too much, stick for the fact that their hybrid camera, which is the size of, I don't know, a novel, a little, like a Lord of the
Mhm.
Rings novel, it doesn't work in
Yeah.
8K for 3 hours, and I'm like, hello, physics, hello, knock knock. So
Yeah.
I'm not as militant about these sort of things. It's like, okay, yes, some companies do it better than others, but you can look at every company. It doesn't matter whether it's Sony with the A7 IV, Canon with the R5, Nikon. I'm not sure which one, but I'm sure there's one. They've all overheated at one point in time, and they've had to
Mm.
work through it. And
Yeah.
these are hybrids that are delivering such a high level of quality, like the fact that you can, like, just randomly, like an S5 IIX is so cheap now, yet this is a gorgeous
Mm-hmm.
6K camera with the best IBIS in class, amazing audio systems. To me, it's a true hybrid because it's kind of equal video and equal stills. Whereas if you look at like
Agree.
Sony, Canon, Nikon, they're still more sort of stills focused when you're looking at
Yeah.
their hybrids as opposed to their cine cameras, right? And And so, the hybrids, this is what we get. And, you can either create something like an A7S3 where it's a hybrid, but they're not pushing the specs like crazy. And that keeps the uptime, right? It'll go for longer. It'll do
Yeah.
4K brilliantly because it's a hybrid, but a more specific hybrid. Anyway, a little bit of a rant from
Yeah.
me, but I do feel sorry for these companies that were honestly, it's like they want more. Okay, we're going to have to make the camera melt just so we can have the spec on the page so people will buy it. And it's like, oh man. Anyway, I think they're all
Yeah.
amazing, and I'm very impressed by the Lumix as 50% stills, 50% video. They really give you that hybrid.
They do a great
adventure.
job. But
Yep.
I did find it odd though that in the last 2 weeks there was just all of a sudden this onslaught of Lumix overheating videos, whereas for
Yep.
months nobody talked about it that much. And I felt like,
it's
okay,
interesting.
that seemed to be a little bit odd for me. And now maybe that was just coincidence. But I mean, I know a lot of these creators chat to each other. They're on group chats and they're doing this stuff. And I was just thinking, if I was Lumix, I'd have been telling them, hey guys, pace this out a little bit. You know what I mean? You guys are all
Yeah.
putting out videos like one after the other. And this doesn't really bode well for us right now. We're trying to fix this
Yeah.
stuff. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
exactly right.
So I kind of feel bad for the Lumix in a sense, but at the same time, I mean, everybody, this is part of the YouTube algorithm is they jump on the bandwagon when there's a hot topic and sort of run with that. But I
Yeah.
think from a company's perspective, I would have rather have them seen, okay, guys, space this out or come up with some different content, but it is what it is. Yeah.
Yeah. Jen has said, as a photographer who doesn't shoot video, I am not interested in making cameras bigger to dissipate heat during video recording. And yeah, look, that's a great point, Jen. So this is what all these companies have to knock up against is they're selling a camera that traditionally we've bought them for stills, and they're going, okay, well, a lot of people want video, so we've put video in there, but how do we keep them small and light and watertight and all those sorts of things? So it's a hybrid, and they are all full of compromises, and that's just how it is. Like, that is literally what we're buying
Yeah.
into. Yet still, the technology far exceeds what we had a decade ago. Far exceeds on every front when it comes to IBIS and speed and autofocus. Every camera, every system, every brand is better than it was a decade ago. So there are advantages to the fact that our systems are actually a video-based system. These cameras are all actually video cameras that are being augmented to be stills cameras. So there'll always be video in there. But yes, it's when you let it run for 2 hours in 8K, then it starts to go, this is a very small amount of area for all this heat we're generating because I've got to compress all this data down onto a little card, and I'm doing it on the fly from a battery. Wow, and I don't know, it's 35 degrees or 100 Fahrenheit and the sun's shining on me, and my color I'm a dark color, so I attract heat, but people still expect me to go on for hours. Anyway, I'll stop there.
True.
Yeah, so
all good.
Before we go, Bobby, does anyone have any last questions or thoughts for us for this week's episode or next week's episode? Otherwise, we will say adieu. We'll give people 20 seconds for the lag to catch up with, as in the delay, the delay of what's going on. Bobby, what have you got on for this week? A lot of things you can't tell us about?
Yes. Yes.
Cool.
Yes. A lot of that.
Good.
A lot of that.
Yeah,
so,
cool.
no, I mean, it's, I think, John's got a QQQ, but he hasn't written the question yet. He's
okay.
You gotta love John. Suspense from John Ishii.
He's jumping in. QQQ. Okay, we're holding the slot open for you, John. So standing by, Gold Leader. Go for throttle up. We're waiting. Yeah. We're hanging with bated breath. Yes. Well,
Joe says it's mostly YouTubers that generate the overheating hysteria to drive views.
Yes.
I would disagree, Joe. I think some of it is, yes. I think there is a bit of hysteria, but I think at the same time, there is a problem that I've experienced when I have the camera right away. I think what I found, and I fed back to some of the people that I know, is that these guys knew about this problem for quite some time, and they didn't really talk about it. And I think the reason is they were waiting probably for Lumix to come out with a solution. As you do, is you say, look, when we know an issue, we try to give the brands benefit of the doubt, but I think that the solution didn't come. So I think they started to be a bit more vocal to sort of help escalate these issues to being resolved. Sometimes they do that. I think that might be the case, but I don't. But there is a problem going on, and I think this is something that needs to be addressed. But again, it depends on what you're shooting, what climate you're in, how you shoot, how you maximize these video codecs, because the Lumix cameras have the kitchen sink inside of it. But yes, there's some hyperbole to it, but there's also some factual stuff.
Jim's asking when's the Z7 III coming out.
Yeah.
So John's question, and sorry, there was one thing that I was going to do, which is to give you a little tour of my space here, if I can manage it without breaking the camera. But John's question was, Bobby, when is the Thypok 21 coming out?
It should be out soon, if I'm not mistaken, probably by the end of the month. I'll double check with them, but it should be out very, very soon. Exciting lens. Actually, no way. I'm sorry, John. It's already available in Singapore right now. That's right. It's already available in Singapore. I'm thinking about something else. It's already available in Singapore, so that you can pick that up now if you come over here.
So Bobby, do you think I should unleash the camera for the last few moments and swing it around? And you can narrate, or I'll narrate, or somebody will narrate. We'll give it a go. All right.
Sure. We'll narrate. We'll narrate. We're going to narrate Matt's warehouse.
Yes. I don't know how exciting it's going to be, but it is at the end of a 1.5 hour episode. So just give me the wind-up signal, Bobby, if you think it's getting too boring too quickly, by saying, Matt, we're done here.
Sure, I will.
Something subtle like that.
Yeah.
All right, here we go.
All right. You got it, Matt. Very subtle.
Subtle.
Very
I like,
subtle.
I like subtle. Here we go.
Subtle works out pretty well.
I'm trying to release the camera here.
So for those who are just joining us, Matt is going to give us a tour of his warehouse that he has a lot of his props.
Because we're on a USB-C cable.
It's Matt's red room.
Yeah, my red room. So
it's Matt's red room. It's your red room.
Okay, so let's have a look over here. This is my pallet racking, Bobby. Where
boxes. Wow.
Well, they're books. They're books that I publish, that I self-publish. But have a look up there. That cupcake. Can you see the cupcake? That is about 1 meter.
Yeah, I see the cupcake. Yes.
3 feet tall.
That's the okay.
And that, it's hard to tell, but that area there is 7 meters high. So that's 21 feet.
Wow.
So that's a lot of
storage.
Because
it looks small in the video. It looks small
does.
in the video.
It's really hard to show the scale. Over here is all my greeting cards, which I can't even get to the floor because of the cable. But I've made about 3 million greeting cards, and this is about
Christmas.
A third
You're never without a greeting card.
Yeah, I should actually send every viewer a greeting card, shouldn't I? No, don't do that. That sounds like hard work. Now, over here is my printer, which blew. Check this out. It blew a cartridge, and see all of this black ink here. So this cartridge exploded, which is not great, I can tell you.
Ouch.
And but before that happened, and this was a beautiful Stormtrooper looking thing. You can see its beautiful coloring. Now I'm in DX. Let me just see if I can. There we go. This is a 60-inch printer.
There we go. Yeah.
60-inch printer. And just to give you an idea of the scale, that's a 24-inch roll in there right now. And that's how big you can go. You can go all the way out to 60 inches. Anyway, so this is where I print my originals, and that's my desk where I print from. And there's the massive roller door to bring in the pallets when new books and things arrive, if I ever make another book. And what else did I want to... here's an example of things that get printed in very large sizes. You can't tell, but that canvas there is a 1 meter canvas, the purple one. So anyway, this is sort of a small tour. If you're interested in a more comprehensive tour where I was going to set up a wireless camera, but I left one cable behind. So that one cable stopped me from doing it. But next time I could walk around. All right, I'm going to try and fix this back here on the tripod so I can go and sit down. There we go. Does the framing look good? I changed the shutter rate. That's why that's flashing.
John's saying, Matt, give us a workshop on printing. Yeah, Matt, I think you should do a video on printing sometime. That'd be kind of cool,
Well, back in the day, I did. At the start of my channel, I did. But yeah, sure. That sounds like fun. Whew. Well, there you go. There's a little bit of behind the scenes of my world. To be a photographic artist, you kind of need all this infrastructure. I mean, you don't need it. You can get third parties to do your printing and third parties to do your warehousing. but I've been doing this for
Right.
35 years. So you kind of build all of this stuff to be able to store and to be able to do stuff. Because that printer, I print canvases that are 1.5 meters, which is about 5 feet, 4.5, 5 feet by 2.5 to 3 meters. So you're talking 6 to 9 feet. So they're big,
Wow.
if you can imagine. And I used to print 12 megapixel files that size. So this is why I don't get too worried about the megapixels, because 45 is way more than 12. And
Yeah.
I know what's possible because I've actually printed and sold these things for years. And I can
Yeah.
tell you, as someone who has sold my work for years, people don't care about the technology. They care about their emotional attachment to the scene. And they're not even saying what camera is that and how many pixels is it and what's, none of that is a question when people are buying a piece of art. So it's interesting. But yeah, we can do an episode about
Yeah.
that sort of stuff.
Yeah,
Very
you should. I
good.
think it would be cool.
We have a QQQ here from Courage Studios. Do you frame your images to your client in general? Question for both. My clients can buy them framed or unframed, so I can do both. I can just put it in a tube and send it, which is better for overseas. For local
Yeah.
people, some people, but custom framing is very expensive in this country, and
Yeah.
it's almost got to the point where the framing is more expensive than buying the print, which is a bit crazy. But that's just the cost of labour here in Australia. Wages are high. So, how about you, Bobby?
Yeah.
Do
I
you
have I
do you
sold any
frame?
photos before? I have sold photos before, but I do frame my own photos. Yes, in my house, I have a lot of
Yep.
photos that are framed. Unfortunately, I didn't go custom. I went IKEA, so that worked out for me. But the problem with IKEA is they get the exact dimensions to fit inside their framing because it's kind of unique and specific. So sometimes they get that picture and that border that they have inside. I found to be quite challenging. Again, I'm not an expert in printing or sizing like Matt is, so I didn't do this for a living. But it took me quite some time to figure that one out, and obviously I had to cut some and crop some a little along the way. But I like to frame my prints. Yeah.
Very good. All right, everybody. Well, there you go. A little bit of pull back the curtain. We'll definitely do more of that. Bobby, I want to thank you very much for joining me today on this beautiful Friday here in the part of the time zone in the world that we are. For everybody on
Yes.
Thursday, you have a great Friday tomorrow. Everybody in the chat and everybody for joining us, thank you so much. And thank you for the super chats as well. They're warmly appreciated to keep the wheels turning. Bobby, thank you.
Thank you, Matt, as well. Thank you once again for a great week. And
Yes.
we will chat very, very soon, probably later on today, as we do.
Yeah. Yes. All right, everybody. Take care. Look after yourselves, and please pick up your cameras and go for a walk. Even if it's your camera's just there as a friend, giving you a reason to get out in the sunshine or the rain or the hail or the snow. It's important that we go out and spend time in the world. All right, everybody. Take care. We look forward to seeing you all very, very soon. And bye for now.